Everyone, Matt here from Docs and today we're going to do a sub 3 on the Skechers Go Run Max Road 6. So this is Skechers ultra cushioned daily training running shoe. It previously was a surprisingly light high stack training shoe, and now things have changed quite a bit. They've got a new foam here, Hyperburst Ice. They've got a new upper. Basically the whole shoe is completely different from top to bottom. And it also feels really, really different. So let's talk about how that is. But first, starting with some of the specs: 11 ounces, men's size 9, 9.2 ounces, women's size 8, 40 millimeters in the heel, 34 on the forefoot for a 6 millimeter drop. As I mentioned, whole new design, new outsole rubber, which there is plenty of. Durability is far improved. But the biggest thing that's changed about this shoe is it is heavier. That was the first thing I noticed, where the older versions were much lighter. The weight was noticeable the second I put it on. I am happy I get 20 miles in this shoe because the ride did change. The Hyperburst Ice was initially oddly firm, and I think that's because it hadn't broken in. But as the shoe is broken in, I can definitely say it is a highly cushioned running shoe, walking shoe. It's very rockered right now. There's very little flexibility. There is still an H plate up front, which I don't think is totally necessary, but it's there anyway, so a little bit of stiffness up front. Very rockered ride, very high stack off the ground. It's not as unstable as the Go Run Ride 11, which I found I couldn't even run in, and Nathan and some others had to review it. But some decent sidewalls through here, foam's a little bit firmer. But once it breaks in, it took me about 20 miles, it does start to bounce a little bit more. It's not a super bouncy ride, but it is definitely a softer ride once the foam is broken in. It just takes a little bit of time. The 6 millimeter drop is noticeable. It does feel like the typical Skechers M Strike stuff, right? Notice immediately landing here, it reminded me of the original Go Run Ride. There's a big bump there. You can't feel the road at all, but big bump there. The other thing that was giving me a big bump was this arch fit insole, which I still don't like. It feels like it's hitting the back portion of my arch. So in a not great way. It is causing me some pain as the shoe broke in, but the more I've run in this, the more that's compressed, which is great. Just be aware that's there. So the M Strike plus the additional thing really feels like a lot is pushing up into the posterior midfoot. If you got a little bit more posterior arch, that actually might work really well for you. For me, it was barely uncomfortable and took some time to break in. The upper is much thicker than previous. It fits slightly snug in the forefoot, normal, and then pretty wide in the heel. That's broken in a little bit, fairly normal fit, a little extra room in the heel, didn't have to lace lock it. But this is just such a different shoe. It's much heavier. It's definitely a tank of the shoe. Durability is awesome, which I've always had trouble with Skechers shoes for. But it's just a different shoe. It's a tank. It'll handle lots of miles, lots of easy miles. It's not going to go fast, but it'll run through pretty much any road environment. And I'm expecting a lot of miles out of this shoe. So if that's something you're looking for, weren't impressed with the durability of the previous versions, and you want a little bit more rockered ride in that M Strike feeling, this might be one to check out for you.